Hello, everybody. Now, you might be wondering, Terry, what are you wearing on the top? What the hell is that? It is a soft Coca-Cola pajama top, and I also have matching pajama bottoms that you cannot see. We recently had a blizzard last night, so I am comfortable at home in a snow day type of deal with my pajamas, and today I'm going to be talking about the fact that I self-published my debut poetry book in 2020. As much of a hell of a year 2020 was, I self-published a book. I also came out with an EP, I came out with videos, music videos, songs, a Christmas song. I used my time at home to work on my art for sure. And I just wanted to talk about it because, like, I talked about it on all my other social media platforms. I've talked about it everywhere, literally. Like, the moment it came out and the moment I found out that it was online at Barnes & Noble, I was like, my book is out. But I haven't really officially told you guys on YouTube yet, so that's what I'm doing today. My poetry book is called Tsunami, as you can see. Tsunami, written by Terry Underhill, illustrated by Tevka, who is an amazing Iowan artist. I never really do these talking videos, so like my breathing just got really fast because I'm like anxious to do a talking video, which I really shouldn't because I don't have to do this, but I want to. I thought, why not share with y'all that I made and published a YouTube book. On the back is a seashell, and I'm gonna talk about all little details from this book, from publishing it, that I haven't really talked about anywhere else. For example, so you see that there are two seashells on here. I asked Tevka to draw two seashells. I originally sent her a picture of seashells shaped just like this. One was fully white, one was fully black. I got them in Florida on a choir trip to Florida my senior year of high school. And at the time I was dating somebody and I thought this would be so cute. Like, you know, I asked them, do you want the white shell or the black shell? They said the black shell. I didn't end up giving it to them. We ended up breaking up and then getting back together and then breaking up and then getting back together. Anyways, it was a shit show of a relationship. So there are some poems in there in this about that, but that's what the cover is inspired on, is the seashells. And then one lonely seashell. I call it Tsunami because these poems are from my teenage years. There are poems in here from when I was 13 years old to 20 years old. So not completely, you know, all teenager, 20 years old is not really a teenager, but it's basically all the feelings that I had as a 20-year-old. And it even in here, every poem has a year next to the title, and that's about the year I wrote the poem. So there are poems in here from 2015 when I was 15 years old, 2013 when I was 13 years old. You know, there's all kinds of different emotions because obviously you're a different person from when you're 13 versus 20 years old. So there's a lot of growth in this. There's a lot of heartbreak. There's a lot of insecurities. It's very personal. It's a different kind of personal because I know I write songs that are personal, but those songs are like attitude and confidence and like, I should have said this, I'm done with you. This personal is like, I'm really sad. You really beat me down. I'm beating myself down. Like, it's very vulnerable. And in here talks about some dark times in my life that I'm not in anymore, thankfully. And I haven't been in those dark times in a very long time. But this goes through like a different version of me when I was a teenager, because I truly believe I am such a different person now than I was as a teenager. I'm very confident in myself and what I do. I do a lot of things. I, have my emotions pretty, man, I don't even know what would you say? I have my emotions evened out. I take anxiety medicine. Like, I know how to express when I'm having a good day, a bad day, And as a teenager, I just didn't really know how to express those things. And when I did express those things, I didn't always express them in a good way. There are poems in here about death and grieving. There are poems in here about, I should put a trigger warning. I'm gonna say a trigger warning right now because, trigger warning of suicide, trigger warning of self-harm, trigger warning of eating disorders, things like that. This covers some heavy topics. It really does, that I've gone through in my life and that I've seen people go through in their life, you know, people around me go through. So I write about a lot of things: happy times, sad times, relationships, love, heartbreak, heartache, grief. You know what humans go through. And I put it all in this book, and I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud that I put these feelings out there into the world. That was really hard for me to do. Talking about mental health and things like that, I've gotten better at. You know, I'm pretty open. If you see my Twitter and Instagram, you'll see I've talked about my mental health a few times, you know. I have no shame. I am an open book. I've gone through shit. Everybody goes through shit. And I just hope that I can help somebody by letting y'all know you are not alone in the feelings that you have. So hopefully if you did get Tsunami and you know about it, hopefully it helped you through some things. People said that did like my book, that said that it was deep. It talks about some really deep emotions, that they really felt this when they read this. Nobody's told me that they didn't like the book. That's okay. You don't have to tell me if you didn't like the book. That's fine. But the people that got the book and I've read it so far have told me that it's deep, it's very emotional. And if you don't know this about me, you should know that I'm a very emotional person. I really am. I am sensitive. I am emotional. Some people might say I'm too emotional. I mean, I understand it, definitely. But I'd rather have and really feel my emotions than, not. I feel deeply for things, and I think that can be a good thing and a bad thing for sure. And I've learned from it. Absolutely. I used to be super over emotional about certain situations like breakups and people that are just not good for me, and thinking that I can help them and change them and things like that. So there's a good side and a bad side about being an emotional person for sure. And you'll see that in this book. You'll see emotions that I have for people. Friendships, relationships. I've only ever been in one relationship. Almost two. You'll read about that. There's beautiful illustrations by Tevka Lockman in here, like this one. That is an illustration for the poem Foreigner. So there's different kinds. This one's prom dress, which I have a visual for on my YouTube channel. Prom dress with the heels, which we did show in the video. When I hold the heels, I tried to incorporate that into the video, the visuals, with the drawings and everything. Tevka Lockman is such an amazing artist. I'm gonna link her Instagram down below in the bio if you want to check out her art. She's so amazing. I've known her since I was about 6 or 7 years old. So to create this project with her was amazing. I gave her my Google Docs. I said, these are all my poems. Draw what you feel. And she did. And we had a great time working on this together. Not every poem has an image to it, but definitely like almost every other poem does. And they're amazing. And I love it so much. It just adds more to it. Because this poem is almost like a diary. I don't say Dear Diary in them. But the way I write my poetry is I write them how I feel, and I don't really edit them. Like when I am in a deep feeling, I just write, and I write, and I write, and I write, and I write everything out until I can't anymore. It just pours out of me until I can't anymore, and then I stop. And usually that's how a lot of my poems are written. I don't really go back to them a lot. I'm currently working on another book that probably won't be out till like next year or the year after that, because I want it to be longer. But that's how I write my poems usually. It's like a diary entry. All my feelings, pour it out. Look at it a little bit during editing, but these are raw, true, honest, brutally honest emotions. I mean, I talk about Family issues, there's Family Feud that's on my YouTube channel, a visual for that. 35 poems in this book total. It's about 84 pages, which is like pretty average for a poetry book, actually. But the next poetry book I'm writing, I want it to be a minimum of 100 pages. That would be nice. So this poem is called 5 Years. I wrote it in 2017 when I was 17 years old. This is the first poem of the book. You attempted, and I survived. If you would have quit, I wouldn't be alive. Doubts and frustrations crawled beneath your pillowcase, seatbelt for safety, but it wasn't wrapped around your waist. They called you Rapunzel, but you weren't beauty or grace. You felt you didn't deserve the world, like you didn't know your place. But you know who you are. Everybody said you'd be a star, but you burned yourself out too quickly. Desperate for light, desperate to fight, you tore yourself down, so by the end of the night, your spider crawled back into your ear. And so it appears, as starvation nears, your eyes start to tear, you say spiders are your fear, not because of how they look, but because of the things they tell you. Day and night, when the spiders would light the fuse that would accuse you of the things you know you are not, an idea so vile you gambled yourself for the style of what? For who? Hurting yourself for the idea of you? I often imagine what the inside of you must be screaming. What have I done to deserve such damage? I have done nothing but give you time. You treated your body like you didn't, like your body wasn't mine. But that wasn't you, and that cannot be me. Because I have seen the light when you missed it. I don't dwell on life, I kiss it. I don't hang on my rope because it's gone. You took that chance and you've made me strong. I felt the recovery was just as impossible as God, but the impossible is possible. Because you, Terry Underhill, attempted, but I, Terry Underhill, survived. 5 years. I hope I said impossible is possible and not possible is possible, because that would be dumb. As you could tell, I'm much better at writing and singing than I am speaking. But yeah, that was the first poem in my book, 5 Years, 2017. So there are poems like that in the book that are deep. I talk about anxiety, I talk about depression, I talk about the loss of my brother, I talk about family issues, I talk about friend issues, I talk about what exes have said to me, I talk about insecurities, I talk about body image, I talk about loneliness, I talk about, there's a poem in here for my Nana that passed away in 2019, there's a few poems for my brother, there's poems about children, there's poems about my Hawaiian culture, there's poems about becoming successful, and there's just so many layers in here. There's just poems about all kinds of things in life and all kinds of things that I've gone through and felt as a teenager, literally from 13 years old to 20 years old. So Tsunami is available on Barnes & Noble. I'm gonna have the link down below. It's also available signed copies on my website. I have about 4 left on my website and 4 left on my BANDCAMP website merch. So I have a total of 8 signed copies left. So better get yours before they're gone. $15. The difference between buying on my website versus buying on like Amazon or Barnes & Noble is I make more profit. So that helps me a lot as an independent artist and an independent writer, publisher. I used lulu.com to publish my book. It was pretty easy. You know, if you are thinking about writing a book and publishing a book, please don't use Google Docs. Use Word. You will thank me later. I tried. I was going to be stubborn and I was like, I'm going to use Google Docs. It's going to work for me. I'm going to make it work, and it didn't work. I had to copy and paste it all into Word, and then some things duplicated. So then like my editing process was even more, and just do it on Word. If you're gonna make a book, honestly, like, you're just gonna save a lot of time. I can't tell you the amount of times I've reformatted this book in the editing process. So many hours on formatting because you're just gonna save yourself time. Just use Word. You're gonna save yourself so much time. So yeah, I use lulu.com. It's free to make your own book, but the only costs that I did was hiring an illustrator. I hired an editor. Yeah, and I hired I believe it's a graphic designer to help me like set out my nails are so nice, to set out how the cover looks. Jeez, can't speak. So yeah, I used lulu.com, and I'm probably gonna use it again for my next book. And yeah, if you want it, link is down below. Tsunami by Terry Underhill. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for supporting, and don't forget to subscribe for more content. There's gonna be different content coming soon. So yeah, mahalo nui loa. Bye.